How's it going, everyone? It's Derek Lamoureux, and today I'm joined by director Mark Bone.
Hello.
And so Mark and I wanted to chat about, we both have the ability to shoot, and we both have the ability to direct. Sometimes we just direct, sometimes we just shoot. Which one do you prefer?
I, these days, prefer directing because I find there's people who dedicate their whole life to cinematography and they nerd out on the gear and they're really passionate about every single frame. So I like bringing them alongside me to help enhance what I'm doing as a director and give me new perspectives on a commercial set. That said, when I'm on some of my documentaries, I actually prefer to be in charge of that camera because the camera almost is the director when it's just you and one person on set.
See, for me, I find sometimes like if I'm gonna go shoot something like a doc or just B-roll, I'd rather just pick up the camera and go because I feel like I can get the shots. But if it's like a planned out thing or a narrative or we need a lot of lighting or there's a lot of complex blocking, I'm like, I need to separate this.
Yes.
So you're coming up to a job and you normally shoot everything and direct everything.
Yes.
But this job in particular needs two people.
Yeah.
How do you decide if you want to be a DP or you want to be the director?
I think if you're thinking specifically about the shots first and less about the ending, you're probably a DP. But if you're thinking about where this is going, you're probably a director. So what I would say then is hire someone for the strength that is weaker.
And I always think of it like, if I'm gonna bring in that extra person, am I gonna bring in an extra director and I shoot, or am I gonna bring in a DP and I direct? And the answer is always, I'm going to direct if there's going to be two people.
For sure. If you have a bigger ego too, like I do, then it's just easier to be the director.
This apple is your ego. Imagine it expanding to the point of critical mass, taking over your whole personality, making you an uncontrollable monster.
But I mean, if you enjoy asserting your vision, then that's often the role of the director because the DP is supposed to be, it's never a level of your self-worth, but their decisions are supposed to be below the director's. Like ultimately, there's one director on a job. They need to be collaborative. They need to give space for other people to make decisions, but they do have the power to veto your decisions. And if you don't like that, don't work on a film set because it's not supposed to be democratic, but that's why there is one director. But that doesn't mean the directors can't be collaborative and give space for people to show up and bring their thoughts.
Have you ever worked with two directors?
I have. I mean, me and Mike have actually co-directed on stuff. Mike is my business partner. He runs Art of Documentary with me. Yeah, you when you co-direct, again, there's just times where you have to give space for the other person to make decisions that you wouldn't. And whenever I come to the edit, I see that there's a reason why Mike was so adamant about a certain approach. And so that's why I give him space to be himself on set, and there's a reason why I brought him on. Don't co-direct with someone who you don't believe in their work, because that's just gonna come out even more intense on set. So yeah, I've co-directed. I don't love doing it unless I have a lot of trust with the person and I believe in their work. But I find more often than not, it's better to have one distinct vision and to have other people around that to support that vision.
I agree. I think if people are thinking about, am I going to hire a director or am I going to hire a DP, decide which one you're more passionate about, and then you're going to need to do it a few times. Because honestly, the first time I hired a DP, I wanted to take the camera the entire shoot, and I was like
the pineapple.
Give me that goddamn map. F you.
Yeah, me too.
you're just not doing anything I want to do. But you have to learn to communicate. And I think the biggest part of being a director is communicating and delegating.
The last thing I'll say is for DPs, when you're collaborating with them, is give them time. In your mind, you've already gone through 3 steps to come up with the idea of why you would want to shoot that. Other DPs work at a different pace, or they're seeing something new, and you got to give them time to get that camera into the right place and tweak that light. And I find my impatience as a documentary director and documentary shooters, I wanted to get everything done really quick when I was on commercial sets, but if I just gave the DP a little time, they would come up with some amazing stuff.
I love the perspective that a DP can give you that you wouldn't have never thought of. And
yes,
I
love
that freedom that you can give a DP and just be like, you know what, I'm thinking this for this scene, let them move the camera where they're gonna go. And if you worked with a really good cinematographer and you build a relationship with a couple different ones, I know you have some that you work with a lot. That's why it's so hard for me to work with a new DP, because I'm like, we just have a shorthand. Do you find that with your DPs?
Yeah, absolutely. There's DPs who I just have a level of comfort with that I want to work with more often. And so there is this level of comfort. in shorthand that you have, like you were mentioning, and that's why would you want to have to reset that on really important projects? But I think it is good to work with a variety of people. You learn new things, and it's also good just to kind of get out of your comfort zone, because sometimes if you get too comfortable with the crew you have, then you're okay kind of cutting corners or just not going that extra mile. There's sometimes when you bring someone in new, they're going to try to impress you, so they're going to work that extra bit hard, on that job, and so that goes a long way as well.
You want a roster of DPs that you can work with, because if one is booked with another director, you don't want to be like, that's the end of it. Well, thank you, Mark, for sharing your thoughts on being a DP and director. Hopefully people, they're watching this and they're maybe going, all right, I was kind of on the line, but I think I'm one way or the other. If you are thinking about being a DP, I highly recommend. Mark and I spent some time together when we first met creating a course that Mark made for the art of documentary. Go check it out. It's called The Cinematic Eye. We'll leave a link in the comments below.
You should go to my channel too, because there's a video that I'm posting with Derek, and he does a whole medium budget lighting setup, and it was really cool seeing you work with all the grids and all that, and I learned a bunch on that video, so you can learn alongside me over there on the Cinematic Eye. But yeah, thanks for that plug, Derek. We're very excited. This is going to be our biggest and best course we've ever released.